orders. Let somebody give you their opinions and then accept the ones you want to accept. And the ones you don't want to accept, don't accept. Resist all attempts to pressure you into becoming the model of success. Resist all that. Do it on your own time, the time that's right for you. Now here's another alternative to time management. Step down to an easier task. Step down to something more manageable. Something that doesn't require that much time, that much effort. That's an alternative. Some people in sales are promoted to being manager. They say, oh, now I've got to be a manager. Heck with this, it takes 14 hours a day, worrying about everybody. I'm getting back out in the field. Get my sales job back. And that's a good alternative. Somebody works for a company and says, oh, I'd love to own one of these companies. Then they find out what it takes to own one of those companies. What kind of pressure, what kind of hours. Can't play golf 3 days a week. And finally says, hey, you know, I've had it up to here with all the headaches and trauma and dealing with all these people's lives and running a company and being responsible for all the stuff. I'm going to step down. And that's a good alternative. It really is. Don't let yourself be pressured when stepping down might give you a better lifestyle. Little girl complained that her father never played with her. She said, Daddy comes home, got his briefcase full of papers, says hello to me, pats me on my head, and disappears. She said, how come my daddy can't play with me when he comes home? And her mother explained and said, look, your daddy works very hard. He loves you very much. But at the office, he's got so much to do that he can't get it all done. So he has to bring the rest of it home. So that's why your daddy can't play with you. And the little girl says, why don't they just put him in a slower group? Not a bad idea. And I offer that here. If you're too busy to play with your kids, you need to join a slower group. You've got to have time for your family. I went for some things that cost me too much in those early days. If I'd known how much it was going to cost, I never would have paid the price. So you've got to weigh the consequences, how to make everything fit. Sometimes that extra money isn't worth it if it pressures you into losing touch with somebody you really care about. So family must be considered here as well. But here's the best alternative to time management, and that's to get more out of you. If we just get more from ourselves, we can make an hour as valuable as 10 hours used to be. We can get as much done now in a day as we used to get done in a week. Efficiency, skills, knowledge, awareness, practice, getting better, all of that value we can bring to the marketplace, bring to the job, and that's where the real time management comes in. I found out that a normal day is enough time. 8 hours, 10 hours, 5 days, 6 days. That's enough time. The rest of it now has got to be the best use of that time. There's a movement going on now in the workplace. The movement is people setting up home offices, telecommuting to work, working at home and communicating with the office through fax machines and computers and modems and delivery services. People are even starting to work in one state and live in another. They don't need to be at the office all the time. For some jobs, they don't need to be at the office at all. And guess what some of these folks find out? The projects that used to take 2 days, they get done in a few hours. Why? Because they have no distractions. No people stopping by their office to chat. No unsolicited phone calls to take. No unexpected visitors to deal with. When they work, they work. When they play, they play. Now, not everybody has the luxury of having a job that can work like this, but maybe some of the same principles can be applied at the office, like do not disturb times, like scheduling your day so that you're totally undisturbed during those hours in which you complete your best work, like setting certain hours each day to take appointments and phone calls. And that's really where the magic of personal development comes in. Knowing who you are, becoming more valuable. Being more valuable, knowing the value of your rhythms in getting certain tasks done. Getting things done more efficiently in a shorter period of time. Working smarter, not harder. Let me give you some more thoughts now on time management. Just a list of things you should consider. Number 1, you run the day or it runs you. Part of the key to time management is just staying in charge. But here's what usually happens. We start something and we're in control. But as time starts to unfold, pretty soon we start losing control. You know, you start a business and you're running it. And pretty soon, what? It's running you. You have to stop every once in a while and say, hold it, hold it. Who's in charge here? So here's a good phrase to jot down. Something will master and something will serve. That's the nature of life. That's just how it goes on this spinning planet of ours. Something will master and something will serve. And here's what you have to make sure you become. The master. You run the day. You run the business. You run the enterprise. You run the job. You stay in charge. Now here's how you can stay in charge. Have your written set of goals with you at all times. Then prioritize your goals and decide which is important. Then constantly review your goals. Then have your goals match up to a good written game plan. The game plan that we talked about earlier. The game plan that says, take it out of your head and put it down on paper. Then, with game plan in hand, try to separate the majors from the minors. The really important things from the things you just have to do. And prioritize. Is this a major day or a minor day? And adjust your time accordingly. Is this a major conversation or a minor conversation? A lot of people don't do well, and here's why. They major in minor things. They spend too much time on things that don't count, and too little time on things that should count. So you're about to pick up the phone and make a call. But before you do, decide, is this a major call? Is this a minor call? If it's a major call, it needs a little preparation. If it's a minor call, a few pleasantries will probably do. Hi, how are you? Tell a little joke, exchange some pleasantries. So a little evaluation will save you a lot of time. Major, minor. Next time management essential, don't mistake movement for achievement. You probably know some people around you who are just plain busy being busy. You've got to be busy being productive. It's easy to get faked out by being busy. Guy comes home at night, flops down in the easy chair, says, I've been going. But the real question is, doing what? I mean, it's the doing what. That's the real key, not the going. Some people are going, doing figure eights. They're not making much progress. Don't mistake movement for achievement. Evaluate the hours in your days and see if there's not a lot of wasted time in there that you could manage better. Do more with. The next key to good time management is good concentration. Focus. You've just got to zero in on the job at hand. Concentrate. Don't start your business day until you get to the business. I used to start my business day in the shower. I'm trying to compose a letter in the shower. The cobwebs haven't been cleared out yet. I'm not awake yet, and I'm trying to compose a letter. Found out it doesn't work. Wait till you get to the office to start your work. Wait until you get to work before you get to the work. Don't start your business day at the breakfast table. It's not good for the family. Here's another one. On the way to work, don't think about work. It's dangerous. There's a lot of cars out there on the highway. Can you imagine if everybody was driving to work thinking about work? It'd be a mess. Accidents everywhere. Here's what you've got to do. On the way to work, concentrate on the way. In the shower, concentrate on the shower. At the breakfast table, concentrate on the family. Wherever you are, be there. Don't be somewhere else. Give whatever you're doing the gift of attention. Give people the gift of attention. The gift of attention, concentration. Next time management essential, learn to say no. Boy, it's easy in a social society to just say yes, yes, yes too much, over-obligate yourself. Then it takes all those phone calls and all that time to back out of it and redo it. Don't say yes too quickly. Better to say, I don't know if I can make it, but I'll give you a call. Better to say you don't know than to say yes, yes, yes too quickly, trying to be nice and then having to back out. One of my colleagues has a good saying, don't let your mouth overload your back. Committing too soon, too quick. Being too eager to please. Appreciate yourself, your time, appreciate your own limits. Know when your commitment to someone else will end up taking time away from yourself and from your family. Have self-appreciation for your special time alone and with those you love and those who love you. This is especially important for charity work, volunteer work as well. A group of entrepreneurs I know have been very successful in their business, getting a lot of press. Pretty soon they're swamped with requests to do pro bono work, do their stuff for free. They must get a couple of offers a month to sit in on one charity board or another. But here's how they handle it. They take all requests, weigh them for time commitments, evaluate them for opportunities, then they take a collective vote on which two they'll accept during the next 12 months. You can't immediately say yes to offers that sound prestigious. You can't immediately say yes to social functions, things that sound like a lot of fun. You've got to say maybe and take time to evaluate what's an important contribution to society and what'll just take time away from your ambitions and your family. Be eager to please yourself and your family. Don't be so eager to please everybody else. Appreciate your own limits. You don't have to fill up every second of the day. Take time to appreciate what you've accomplished. Take time to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Your success should be a pleasure. Appreciating what you've got and what you've done and who you've become is important. It's an important component in fueling your future achievements. Just knowing that you've accomplished in one day what you laid out in your game plan. Just knowing that you finished all you started out to do that day. That's encouraging. And it's these little daily advantages that you're gaining that continue to fuel your achievement. Let's say you're figuring out tomorrow's game plan tonight, and tomorrow looks pretty light. So all you write down for tomorrow is cleanup day. You know, clean up all the little notes on your desk. Write all the thank you notes you haven't gotten around to writing all week. Take care of a few phone calls that keep getting shuffled from one day to the next. Nothing major, just minor stuff. But nonetheless, little stuff that keeps nagging on you until you get it done. So you spend your day in a cleanup mode. You file the notes, write the thank you cards, make the phone calls. Not a major day, but at the end of the day, you feel you've accomplished so much. Why? Because you've taken care of so many little details. The little details that can make a major difference. You feel like you've really achieved something during this day that started out to be so minor. Little achievements are just as important as big achievements. Why? Because you can't appreciate the big achievements without first appreciating the little ones. Success is the constant process of working toward your goals, little achievement by little achievement. Little achievements produce big results. George Leonard, in his book Mastery, talks about enjoying the plateau. Enjoying the plateau. Now, this is an important point because so often we find ourselves racing to get ahead, thinking about our next achievement so much that we can't appreciate the time in between. Happiness is not in the getting. Happiness is in the becoming. Happiness is a universal quest. Happiness is a joy that most comes as a result of positive activity. It has a wide variety of meanings, a wide variety of interpretations. Happiness is both the joy of discovery and the joy of knowing. It's the result of an awareness of the full range of life, experiences, sounds, harmonies, dreams, goals. And it's the joy that comes from designing a life that practices the fine art of living well. Happiness is being able to explore all that life offers. Happiness is quite often found in having options. Options of doing what you want to instead of doing what you have to. The option of living where you want to instead of living where you have to. The option of looking like you want to instead of settling for what you have to. Happiness is receiving and sharing, reaping and bestowing. Happiness is found in taking time to enjoy what you've accomplished, in enjoying the plateau, in giving yourself credit when credit is due, in patting yourself on the back for a job well done. Happiness is here and now. Happiness isn't the end result. Happiness is part of the journey. There's an old saying that goes like this: the road to heaven is heaven. The happiness that you're searching for in the future must be found today. The success you're after in the future will only be found by working on it today. Success is the balance between the need for active achievement and the satisfaction in taking the time to acknowledge what you've already achieved. Take time to reflect while you're enjoying the plateau. And while you're reflecting back on your past accomplishments, think about something else. Think about the potential within you that's still untapped. Consider these two questions during your time of reflection. Number 1, what could I have achieved in the past had I been more diligent? Could I have been more disciplined, worked smarter instead of harder, said no more often to social functions, to community commitments? What could I have achieved in the past had I tried a little differently? Only you can answer this question. It's very personal. While you're reflecting and enjoying your plateau, all I'm asking is that you dig a little deeper and see if you can't be a bit more effective next time. Work a little smarter instead of a little harder. So that's question number 1. What could I have achieved in the past if I tried a little more diligently? Now here's number 2. How can I achieve more in the future? Well, if you take some quality time to thoughtfully answer question number 1, you'll probably have a clue as to what's needed in the future. Do you need to work more diligently? Do you need to be more disciplined? Do you need to work smarter instead of harder? Do you need to say no more often? Do you need to manage your time better? That's one of the keys to reflection. You can put down on paper what worked for you in the past and figure out ways to translate this information into the future. You can design your better future if you can learn from your past. You can face your future with more excitement, more anticipation, when you design a future worth getting excited about. You can see your future and have it pull you, but don't forget to appreciate yourself for what you have done so far, for what you have done today. Take a self-appreciation inventory. Ask yourself a few questions. Start with number 1. What have I achieved in the last 4 days, the last 2 weeks, the last 6 months, the last year, the last 10 years? What have I achieved during these time periods? Write it down. Take a self-appreciation inventory of all you've done and all you've accomplished and all you've become. Take inventory of yourself. Now compare this list to your goals. Have you accomplished all you set out to do in the last 4 days, 2 weeks, 6 months, 1 year, 10 years? Compare your list. Maybe you've been so busy trying to reach your goals that you haven't taken the time to sit back and reflect on where you've really been. Look back at your list and say, wow, I really have been through a lot. I really have learned a lot. Look what I've done. Look what I've become. I wasn't like this 10 years ago or even 1 year ago. Look at me. I'm doing okay. Building your ambition takes little steps. 1 step at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 week at a time. And it's like taking your family to a reunion where people haven't seen your kids for 6 months or even a year. They say, "My, look how you've grown." Well, you know your kids have grown, but when you see them every day, it's hard to notice. So write down all your accomplishments and see where you've been and what you've done and who you've become. You'll say, "Oh, look how I've grown." And that's step 1 in taking a self-appreciation inventory. Now here's step 2. What could I have achieved that I didn't? Be honest now, this is your inventory. Nobody else has to see it. What could you have achieved over the last week, the last month, the last quarter, the last year? What could you have achieved that you didn't? Would a game plan have made a difference? Would your direction have made a difference? Would greater preparation have made a difference? Would more discipline have made a difference? In how you changed your habits, changed your life? Would time management have made a difference? Major time over minor time. Ask yourself, what could I have achieved that I didn't? Now, take this 1 step further with number 3. What do I want to achieve in the next 4 days, the next 2 weeks, the next 6 months, over the next year, over the next 10 years? What do I want to achieve? Well, all this falls in line with your goals. What you could achieve has to fall in line with what you want to achieve. What you could do has to line up with what you want to do. And what you could become has to meet, what do I want to become? Everything affects everything. And through the proper disciplines, practiced every day, through the proper disciplines, the what could I do has to match up with what do I want to do. And here's number 4. What can I do to achieve this that I'm not doing now? What could I do to achieve my goals that I'm not doing now? What things do I need to work on that I'm not working on now? Remember, it's easy to do the disciplines, the little things every day, and it's easy not to. It's easy not to. Look back at the self-knowledge inventory that you took on side 3 of this program, the session on positive self-direction. Look back at the list you made of your 3 most important work-related goals. Look back at your list of the 3 most important personal and spiritual goals. How are you doing with these? Are you making progress a little each day, a little each day? Are you appreciative of the progress you've made so far? It's important that you take time out to acknowledge yourself, your achievements, what you've done so far, where you've come, who you've become. Self-appreciation is a stage in building ambition that takes a little more maturity, a greater resolve, knowing that you'll do it until you get it done, and taking the time out to acknowledge yourself for doing it. Self-appreciation comes from already being firmly set on the course of positive self-direction, being on the right track, having that wonderful blend of humility and self-esteem, knowing within yourself that you're accomplishing your goals, and knowing yourself enough and being confident in yourself enough to avoid needless bragging. Self-appreciation says that you admit there's room for improvement, knowing that you're on the right track, but admitting the need for continued growth, more books, more seminars, more skills, more disciplines, greater awareness, Bigger vision? There's always more room to grow. There's always more knowledge to gain, always more skills to perfect. We're never done with the education process because education is part of the path to wealth. Education and learning is part of the path to health. Continued education can turn you around if you're headed in the wrong direction. We must never stop learning, growing, expanding. And we must never forget to take time to appreciate ourselves for what we've done in pursuit of what we want to become. So far in this series on the power of ambition, we've addressed a brief history of ambition in this great country of ours. And we've talked about the 6 steps of building our ambition. Before we go into how ambition affects our personal lives, let me just review the steps we've covered so far. Step 1, positive self-direction, knowing who you are and where you want to go with your life. Step 2 is self-reliance, taking responsibility for your own life and taking responsibility for all that happens in your life. Step 3, self-discipline, addressing ambition at the daily level, doing all you can every day, and doing it until you get there, knowing that the pain of discipline weighs ounces and the pain of regret weighs tons. Step 4 is self-enterprise, keeping your eyes and ears open at all times, being aware of opportunities around you, and being able to create opportunities that'll keep you on the road to success. Step 5 in building your ambition is working with others, learning how to effectively communicate with those around you, learning how to maximize your networking abilities, and learning to work with those who deserve it, not those who need it. And step 6 is self-appreciation, fueling your accomplishments tomorrow by acknowledging your successes today. Each of these 6 building blocks works together in creating energy, directing energy to fuel our ambitions. So as we talk now about ambition and how it affects our personal life, let's make sure to remember the building blocks that we've already discussed. Balancing your personal life with your professional life is key to making your ambition work for you. Home life, work life, they must work together. Making sure that what you're going for in your career complements your home life. Making sure that what goes on at home complements your career. One won't work well if the other doesn't. Lady gets into work early in the morning, is the last one to leave every night. This keeps going on week after week, month after month. Doesn't seem like she gets that much more accomplished than everyone else. Matter of fact, it seems like she's using the office to escape from home. Something's wrong here. Better fix it. Chances are that whatever's bothering her at home is affecting her work anyway. A guy's always late for work.